Hi, Hazen students and families. This is Mrs. Like from the Hazen Counseling Office, trying to help you navigate the Running Start program. So a very common question that gets asked of high school counselors is, should I or shouldn't I do the Running Start program? And there's usually not a great way to answer that question without giving quite a bit of explanation. So this video is an opportunity for us to share some important things that we think you should be thinking about and considering before you make this decision. Okay, real quick, just a summary of what the Running Start program is. Running Start is a statewide program that allows any 11th or 12th grade student to take classes at the community or technical colleges in Washington State. The tuition is paid by the Running Start program, although sometimes there are additional fees through the college that the family is still responsible for paying. Students are able to earn both high school and college credits at the same time. And generally a 5-credit college class is equal to a 1.0 high school class. All right, so here are some important advantages of the Running Start program. Obviously, this is an opportunity for students to take advanced coursework. So this is a way that students can take college level work, and that's really critical. This is college level work, right? This is not high school level work. And so if students are ready for advanced coursework, that's a huge advantage of the Running Start program. Another advantage for some students is that this is an adult educational setting. I think I heard the statistic that the average age of a student on a community or technical college campus in the state of Washington is around the age of 28. So that gives you an idea of our Running Start students who are 16 to 18 years old. They'll be in classes with much older students, and it's just an important consideration. Some students love being able to be in a more adult environment. Okay, so another advantage of the Running Start program is that it does allow for quite a bit of flexibility in scheduling of classes at the college. Obviously, a huge advantage for families is that it is dual credit, meaning you can get high school and college credits at the same time, and you're earning college credit for a fraction of the cost that usually is associated with tuition at a college. There are choices between enrollment options. So students who participate in the Running Start program have to decide whether they choose to go full-time at the college or part-time. Full-time simply means that the student is taking no classes at Hazen High School and all of the coursework they are taking is at the college. When a student is full-time, that means they can take up to 15 college credits per quarter at the college. Part-time Running Start students means that students are taking at least one or more classes at Hazen High School while also concurrently taking some classes at the college. The number of classes the student takes at Hazen then determines the number of credits allowed each quarter at the college. So the more classes a student takes at Hazen, the fewer credits that will be paid by the Running Start program at the college per quarter. Generally, if your student hasn't yet completed Algebra 2, A, and B, your student will most likely need to be a part-time Running Start student. That's because the math classes at the colleges are generally, the content of those classes are above the Algebra 2 content. And so students have to first complete and demonstrate that they have the knowledge base from Algebra 2 before they can take college level math. Okay, some really important considerations. These are things we really think students and their families should keep in mind as they're trying to decide whether or not they want to participate in the Running Start program. So as I mentioned a little bit earlier, although the tuition cost is paid by the Running Start program, it does not include other fees such as books or lab fees if a student is taking a class that has a lab fee. So there are costs associated with the Running Start program. It's just generally not the tuition. Though an important side note about that is if a student is already signed up for the free and reduced lunch program, generally colleges will waive many of these other fees. And so that is a really good reason if your family does qualify for free and reduced lunch, but you haven't signed your student up for that program, to go ahead and do it. And that way your student won't have to pay most of the fees at the college. Okay, another important consideration is that transportation is the student's responsibility. Unfortunately, our bus systems aren't that great here in the Highlands, getting students to and from colleges, and so it is challenging when a student decides to do transportation by public bus transportation. Most of our students seem to either drive themselves or get a ride from a friend, but it is the family's responsibility to figure the transportation part out. Okay, another really important consideration that I really want you to think about is that not all of the college credit earned in Running Start will transfer to all colleges. So let me clarify. In Washington State, since Running Start is a Washington State program, those credits taken in the Running Start program will transfer to just about every public and private college in the state of Washington. However, since this is only a Washington State program, there's no guarantee that the credits that the student earns through Running Start will transfer to out-of-state colleges. So if your student already knows that they will be applying to an out-of-state college after high school, we would really encourage you and your student to contact the admissions office of that out-of-state college to find out whether or not the Running Start credits will transfer to that college. If they don't, you might consider focusing more on classes offered at the high school, such as our AP classes. All right, this is critical for students to understand. So families, if you can please help them understand this. When a student starts the Running Start program, they're enrolling in a college. And that means that students are beginning their college GPA, and of course, they're continuing their high school GPA. So students don't always think long term. They think about how great it might be to take college classes, but they still are thinking in the mode that they're still a high school student. But in reality, by participating in the Running Start program, they are also a full-fledged college student. And so the GPA and the grades that they earn at the college through Running Start are permanent. They're a permanent part of their record as a college student. And so we really want students to understand the implications about that. In particular, at Bellevue College, a student must absolutely maintain a 2.0 GPA, which is a C average, or students will become ineligible to continue in the program at Bellevue College. And a low GPA below a 2.0 could impact a student's ability to access financial aid after high school. So again, helping your student understand that they are starting their college GPA is really critical. Okay, additional important considerations, and this goes along with them starting their college GPA. Our students are also starting their permanent college transcript. While continuing to add to their current high school transcript. This means that when students are applying to four-year colleges after high school, as a part of that admissions process, they will be expected to submit a copy of the college transcript where they have been participating in the Running Start program, and that will be a record of all the courses and the grades that they've earned while in the Running Start program. Also, as mentioned before, we really want students to understand that they will be in an adult learning environment, and they might be doing projects with much older, well, not much older, right? But with people who are adult, and they need to understand the responsibilities that come with that. And also, because students are not on the Hazen campus taking their classes, they may miss out on school activities, on announcements that we do, the bulletin that we do on a daily basis. And it does, just because they are not on Hazen's campus, become harder for them to hear about activities and things that are happening at Hazen High School. Finally, the college academic schedule, which colleges around in our area are on quarters. It does not line up with the high school academic calendar, which we're on trimesters. So generally, students need to plan on a full year commitment. Here's an illustration of how the calendars work. So the top line is the high school trimester schedule, and the bottom line is the college calendar schedule. You'll notice that, of course, the high school starts actually in the end of August, but the college doesn't start until the very end of September. So if, for example, if a student has a part-time Running Start schedule, they'll start their Hazen classes in August, but they won't start their Running Start classes until the very end of September. Another really important thing to consider as a family is that the breaks, the high school breaks and the college breaks do not line up. So this means that where you might ordinarily be taking a trip over midwinter break, you have to remember that your college Running Start student does not have the same break that maybe your other children have who are in the Renton School District. And this is really important because, of course, we can't have our Running Start students missing their classes. So it's just something that not all families realize at the time that they're signing up, and it helps to point it out. Okay, so considering all of those things, what makes a Running Start student successful? These are just some characteristics that we've noticed over the years. Running Start students who are successful tend to be good at working independently and having an independent work ethic. They attend their classes. They have demonstrated that they are already mature and able to navigate systems. They are self-motivated and they have good study habits. Running Start students who are successful probably have a demonstration of previous academic success. And maybe they have an interest in a program of study that isn't offered at the high school, and that's one of the reasons why they're really excited to try the Running Start program. All right, so some really important expectations that we have of students who choose to participate in the Running Start program. So the college and Hazen High School, because we don't always have your students face to face, right? They're not in classes at Hazen. We have to communicate time-sensitive information to students about course registration, about graduation requirements, and the real primary way that we can do that is through email. So when students sign up for the Running Start program, one of the things they do is they tell us which email address they want us to communicate with them through, and we will send them regular information through that email. Therefore, all Running Start students are expected to read their emails and respond accordingly. Critical information gets sent only through email, and that's really the only way that we have to communicate with Running Start students on a regular basis. Additionally, Running Start students are expected to be responsible for managing their time, scheduling appointments, and managing the paperwork that goes along with participating in the Running Start program. Just a few other things we really think families should know if your student chooses to participate in the Running Start program. This is just a pattern we've noticed over the years, but most Running Start students see that their GPA does drop slightly when they start taking classes at the college. It's not surprising, right? They're going from high school classes to college level coursework. Of course, this is not true of all students, but it is a trend that we generally do see. Additionally, this is really critical for parents to understand. Parents and guardians do not have access to the college instructors, to your students' grades, to your students' attendance. So all of those things that you're typically able to interact with your student's high school teacher is no longer true in the Running Start program. So college instructors will not respond to parents' emails, and you will not have direct access to your students' grades. You won't know whether or not they're attending their classes. So there really is going to have to be some conversations between students and parents about how you will navigate that as a family. All right, students are still responsible for meeting all Renton School District graduation requirements, including a high school and beyond plan and their community service hours. Running Start students must complete these independently, however. So at Hazen High School, if a student is taking classes at Hazen, they attend their homeroom and we do the high school and beyond plan activities through homeroom, but your student won't be in homeroom and therefore they will be responsible for completing those requirements for their diploma independently. Finally, students are not allowed to be on the Hazen campus during their unscheduled time. So of course, if they have a period of the day where they're scheduled into a Hazen class, of course, they will be on campus at that time, but any other time that is designated as their Running Start hours, they should not be on the Hazen campus. Okay, just before you go, if you would like to follow the Hazen Running Start program on Instagram, here's how you can sign up for it. We try our best to update any information on that Instagram page. And then finally, if you do have any further questions, we encourage you to check the couple of good places to reference. The college's Running Start page is always going to be the best place where your student can find information that is particular about that college's Running Start program. Although you're always welcome to contact the counseling department. That's our general office number. But I would say that contacting your school counselor by email is probably going to be the fastest way that we'll be able to respond to your general questions about the Running Start program. And I think that does it for now. Thank you, and I hope that you have a great day.